Okay. My name is Joe Reingold, and I'm here. What did you tell me your first name again?
Paul Singer.
Paul Singer is here interviewing with me. Today is August 31st, 2018. Good afternoon, Paul.
Good afternoon.
Tell me a little bit about your family, whatever you remember of your grandparents, your parents, where they lived and how they got to be, where they settled in.
My father was born in Russia, and my mother was born in Lithuania. Came here in the early teens, maybe a little bit before the teens, and my dad's father was a very religious person, and in the old country. And my dad came with another woman who they had to get out of Russia at that time because that part of the country was having a war. And so my dad was the wife of somebody else, or one other woman, and so they came over together as a husband and wife so that they could get it done. And they came to the United States, and he had 7 brothers. He had 7 brothers, and most of them were in Baltimore, Maryland. And my mother came over. Not a whole lot do I know about my mother. She was born in Lithuania, and she came over, and I have 3 brothers. There's 4 boys in the family. Right now, I'm the only survivor. The oldest was Frank. He was 96 when he passed away. Milton was about 88 or something like that. And then Urban was 89, and I'm 89.
Okay. So where did your parents, how did they meet, first of all?
Actually, from what I understand in Baltimore, from what I understand, it's a good question. From what I understand, they met in Baltimore, and I think they got married in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. They both came to Dallas, and my memory is not what it used to be. And
It's okay.
My dad was in the grocery business and did very well. This was but in 1929, during the Depression, he seemed to have lost everything and had a hard time till about 1941 when he opened another grocery store, and my brother and I worked in the grocery store. We took turns helping him. And it was close to where we went to school. I went to Forest Avenue High School, and the store was on Meadow Street, right off of Meadow Street. And we went every night, and we didn't have a car at that time. We used to walk a pretty good way to the Myrtle Street streetcar. And we did that pretty well, and things worked out very well. My brother and I stayed there. We kept the store from, actually, that opened at 40. I sold it in 73, the first time it was ever robbed. It was after that first robbery, in 2 weeks, I had it sold. And although
I wanted to back you up for just a second and ask you, why did your parents pick Dallas? Do you know why they settled here?
my mother had a brother here, and my dad, why they picked Dallas? That's a very good question. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly why they came to Dallas, but they. You know what? I don't remember if they got married in Baltimore or got married here in Dallas. I really forgot about that.
That's okay.
Because things.
That's all right.
Happen sometimes.
So tell us a little bit about your childhood, what you remember about the Forest Avenue area and all that.
Okay, we grew up in South Dallas, which is the best place in the world to grow up. I mean, we went to Colonial Elementary School, and went to Forest Avenue High School, which is the best time of my life. And it was a Jewish community, and it was, you couldn't beat South Dallas. We had everything you wanted in South Dallas, and it's a shame that a lot of people, that was the best Jewish community you'd ever want to live in, is in South Dallas, believe me. I mean, we had 2 theaters, we had all the shows now in North Dallas, at Good Asaka, where I was bar mitzvah. And I davened for my bar mitzvah, which is in those days, you didn't hardly do that. I did chakras, and which they hardly didn't do that in those days. And I was bar mitzvah there at Good Asaka. And then at 14, I sang in the choir at Sheriff Israel from 14 to 21. And Sheriff Israel, this was in South Dallas, when Sheriff Israel was in
Right.
South Dallas. And Rabbi Kaplan, who was the cantor at that time, when at 21, I was inducted into the service. I spent 2 years in the service. And when I came back, I found out that Rabbi Kaplan, the cantor, and he and his wife were driving back from Houston. They had a son that was a doctor in Houston, and they had a car crash, and they both passed away, which was terrible. I enjoyed singing in the choir. And at that time, when I guess you might say, when I got out of the service, I'm going to think that I went to SMU for a couple of years, and this was before, actually. This is after I graduated high school. And because I had to work in the store and help my dad in the store, I went to SMU, but to be frankly, I just went there to have fun. I had a lot of fun. I love to dance, and I had a lot of fun. But I
Did
stayed
you
there for
have
2
Did you
years.
have in mind any particular courses, that whatever the path that you wanted to do at that point?
At that time, I figured that I'd be in the grocery business all my life. I just figured that, hey, this is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
And then the civil rights situation came out. This was an all-black neighborhood that we were in. And I can say that we gave credit and everything to the customers, all our customers that lived there. And in that, 40 to,
73.
I sold in 73. I bet we did not lose $200 in credit. Everybody paid their bills, and we gave credit. Everybody paid their bills on time. And I never had any fear at all. In fact, for many, many years, we walked maybe 8 or 10 blocks to the streetcar during the black neighborhood at dark, after dark. I was never afraid. And then in 73, we were robbed that one time, and this was when the civil rights deal came about. And in 2 years, I sold the store, and never did anything else in my life. I took care of them. I had sold my brother when he came home. We had one of my brother Milton, joined us in the store, and he went into the wholesale meat business, and he sold to all barbecue places in South Dallas. Every barbecue place in South Dallas, he took care of. And from the store, the 3 brothers, we worked in the store until that 73, which we sold it. Brother Milton, he went to another place to continue his business, and I left and didn't know what I was going to do. Hey, what am I going to do here? The only thing I know is, the grocery store business. So my wife and I, we took a little trip, and we said, okay, Paul, let's see what you can do.
Wait, I'm stopping you.
Go ahead.
You didn't say how and when and how you met your wife.
Oh, that's a good story. I got a call from a friend of mine, Selma Sagel. Selma is Evie's cousin. Okay, and Selma called me and says, Paul, I have a cousin coming in from Chicago. Would you take her out? So I started asking questions. Well, what does she look like? How old is she? Can she dance? Is she pretty? And I went on and on and on, all these questions. And then Selma said, Paul, I'm not asking you to marry the girl. But anyway, we went on a date, and we were married, about maybe a year later, or somewhere in that time.
So it worked out.
It was the best decision I ever made in my life.
That's great. Do you have any children?
We have I have three children. How many children? We have
Three,
three children.
yeah.
Uh-oh.
Mitchell,
Three
Julie,
children.
and
Okay,
Lisa.
three, yeah. Mitchell, Julie, and
Lisa.
Lisa. Okay, yes. We have three children. And I think how you got my name was through Mitchell's wife,
Yes.
it's Kathy.
Kathy.
Yeah, you
Right.
know, have you known Kathy for a little
I
while?
know who she is, yes.
Yeah, okay. And just briefly, how did you talk to her, or she talked to you about it, or?
I think she called the office,
Okay.
Dallas Jewish Historical Society,
Mhm.
and said that she thought it would be nice if you guys, did an oral history interview. So
Okay.
we went from there.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, and so what happened was, what did I know? I mean, so the only thing I could think of was going into sales. And so I went into a food service company that sold food to the home, a 6-month supply of food. The name of it was
Guaranteed food.
Guaranteed Foods, okay? And Guaranteed Foods, what they did was, it was a Jewish family that owned it, and they sold 6-month supply of food to the home. And they had food economists go out to the house and this and that and the other, and it was strictly a commission job, strictly commission. And I never sold anything in my life. But in Ahora, I did well in that. And fact is, I changed their whole program. And they weren't doing very well at that time, but it was a nice organization. But they had two brothers, and the family was there, and then the in-law. And I kind of, being in the grocery business, I changed the whole program that they had. And I was made sales manager. And then I was made, went up the ladder anyway. And the program that we consumed and I managed, and they became millionaires, all of them. I mean, we did very, very well. And we were blessed too, and they took very good care of me. And so then they got greedy, and they went bankrupt. And that's the way it goes sometimes. So anyway, when they went bankrupt, I said, well, maybe I'll just retire. And then I thought, nah, let me see what else I can do. So that was on a Friday evening. I'd have to look at the paper and look at the want ads, and they had want ads in those days. They don't have them now, but they had want ads in those days. And I saw something about you could sell hearing aids. Well, sell hearing aids, that's interesting. Hey, that would be, I wouldn't have to work all the time. That could be daytime, and this because I worked a lot of times at night, day and night. I trained during the day. I had a 2-hour training session for all the salespeople in the food business, and I trained every day. This went on for, let's see, I joined them in '73. I think we went broke in '78 or something like that, or something in that area.
But in the 80s.
Maybe it was in the '80s. Okay, maybe it was in the '80s, and but we did very well. And then, so I decided that I was looking at the paper. And I said, hey, you don't think I'll go? This was a Friday, just after I resigned. And I went over there, and they hired me, and I started selling hearing aids. And pretty soon I was training to sell hearing aids. And I became the manager and this and that and the other, and enjoyed it. Oh, loved it. Mm-hmm. In fact, I stayed in the business until I was 82 years old. But they did, I did work the last 8 or 10 years, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday only. Okay, just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And not to say, but I could make more in 3 days than most of the other salesmen could do in a week, so it didn't make a difference. But anyway, it was fun, and love the people I worked with, and that's one of the reasons I stayed there. And I can say that I have been very blessed, and I have wonderful children, I have a wonderful wife, so I have been very, very blessed. And
Tell me, what activities were you all involved in, either you and your wife or your family, living here in Dallas, as far as the community-wide or even Jewish-wide? What were you involved in?
Well, I tell you, we, after a few years, a friend of ours with Temple Emmanuel, they belonged to Temple Emmanuel Couples Club. So they invited us to join, so Edie and I joined, although we go to Sheriff Israel and always have been a member of Sheriff Israel for 50, 60 years, whatever it is.
60.
And that's where we were married,
60.
over 60 years, we were married there. And so we to Temple Emmanuel Couples Club. It was very nice, okay? And I started off, I was, I think, sergeant at arms or something like this. And then pretty soon I was president, okay, of the Temple Emmanuel Couples Club. In fact, I was president for two times, okay, 2 semesters. And we had, it was very, very nice. I met a lot of people that I would not have met before. And we enjoyed it. It was a sort of a social affair. So we had about 8 or 10 affairs, and it was really very, very, very nice. And I enjoyed our companionship with all the people and meeting new people and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Since you've been here most of your life, tell me, how have you seen Dallas change and grow? What have you seen? Describe it to me.
Well, of course, I grew up in South Dallas, and it was an all Jewish neighborhood, and just about not all, but of course, but it was the greatest place in the world to grow up in. Forest Avenue High School, most of them were a lot of the Jewish kids, you know. And like, I don't know if I mentioned, but they had dances in the morning and dances in the afternoon. I loved the dance. So I hated to leave high school. But the good things have to come to an end sometimes. So I did that. And of course, while I was working, while I was going to high school, I had my dad in the store. And I felt like I helped Dad to the extent that I was very blessed and did very well.
Where did you move when you got married? What area?
We live in North Dallas, not too far from Hockaday school there. And we have been, like I said, been very, very blessed. And I have 3 grandchildren.
Good.
And 2 of them, all 3 of them have graduated college. One of them is aeronautical engineer. One of them is just a school teacher, and one of them is going to graduate in next May, I guess it is. And she's going to be in teaching, but she can be teaching, but she's in drawing and what's the term?
Art.
Art. She's in art. So again, I have been very blessed, and I'm very thankful for everything.
Think about this for just a minute. I mean, you've had several careers and all kinds of things going on. If you could pick something, what are you the most proud of? Besides your family. I know you said that, but what else? Anything you could think of?
Well, of course, again, I have been very lucky, and I've been very happy, and as far as proud, I'm proud of my family. I mean, we're all very close. In fact, I took them when I was 75, we all took all the family and went on a cruise together. And right now, I'll be 90 next year, and I'm taking them all, on my family and grandchildren, we're going to Alaska.
Oh, wonderful.
And we're planning that right now.
Wonderful.
And I've been very fortunate, very, very blessed.
Can you think of anybody along the way that might have been a role model to you?
My wife, she's always taught me a lot of things.
It's great. That's good.
Role model. Let me see. Who's my role model? I never gave that much thought, to tell you the truth, but a lot of people I can say is a role model that I've come in contact with. But offhand, I couldn't think of anybody
Okay.
that really is a role model.
That's all right. That's okay. So everything sounds fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Paul? to the interview?
No, not really. Again, I have been blessed and I couldn't ask for more. Can't over.
All right, thank you very much, wonderful.